Francis. Yay! We're getting there, you guys. We're close to finish, sort of. If you saw yesterday's YouTube video, we worked on the black part of her outfit, the red part of her outfit. I can't remember if we did anything else. But afterwards, I was messing around and I did stuff, you guys. It happens. I didn't mean to, but I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how I'm gonna do like her hair. And I gotta figure it out. And so I was screwing around with it. And eventually it was just like painted. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I don't want to undo it, so they'll just have to live with the fact that we skipped it. I also did some very, very rudimentary shading on the metal on her outfit. It's nowhere near complete. I just didn't want to upload it with just flat gray there. So I did some minor shading. There's a lot more to do on it, and that's what we're going to work on today. We're going to go ahead and we're going to work on all the metal work. Oh, I also did her horns. And I guess then we're going to get rid of the lines. Wow, we're already to that part. And we're going to start painting this without the lines, because you'll notice if I take the lines away. It's getting there. You can start to see some things are defined, but we're going to go in and we're going to define them more, and like all these little bits and chunks that are like not supposed to be there. Like, look at this, her thumb's missing a big chunk. There's this that's sticking out and her fingers are all shaky. Yeah, we're going to fix that. It's like that because with the lines there, you don't see those chunks missing. This is all the stuff that's under the lines, and we got to smooth it out and fix the contrasts and add in the details, because like her face is messed up without the lines. She doesn't have any like eyelashes, and yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So anyway, I want to show you guys the hair. Actually, can I show it without the lines? Yeah, you can see it without the lines. What I did is I just went back with like this dark brown from her stockings. Did all of that, and then I took an orange from the background and sort of painted in. Let's see, can I find an example? Not really. Maybe if you look really close. See how there's kind of like fuzzy orange here? Where's another good spot? I don't know. There's certain spots you can see it, like here. You can see there's this fuzzy orange behind all these little strokes. I just went in and I put in all the individual locks where the light was going to hit them. And then I went back with a really small pen brush, like the smallest size I could, got a brighter orange, and started laying in all the little hairs. And when that was done, I went back with a layer set to, I want to say it was either overlay or multiply, I don't remember. And it darkened up the inside of her hair, so you didn't see the inside strands quite as much as the outside strands, because we have to have, you know, some difference so the light doesn't hit everywhere. And then I went back with another layer. I think it was on luminosity, I'm not sure, and did a hazy orange glow around the outside of her hair so that you can see the light reflecting off it. Her hair is actually black, but with how bright the light is and just the ambient color around her, she's never going to have straight black hair. It would look really wrong if she did. I'll show you. If we took all the color out of this, here, that doesn't look right. Yes, it's black and gray or whatever, but without the colors from the surrounding atmosphere, it looks really wrong. So I just reflected the light from the background into her hair. And yes, it makes it look like she has kind of chestnut red hair, but that's not because that's the actual color of her hair. It's just the way the light is bouncing off it. Whatever, just go with it. It works. I also worked on her horns. Just some simple shading. I went around with a dark brush and shaded the tips and the base, and I put some bright orange and red and yellow highlights here where the bend of the horn is. And then I just went back with a really itty bitty little brush and I extended this orange color down and up, and then I got this dark color and did some more little lines, and I went back and put the yellow around it and added those little lines, and it looks pretty good. It works. What else did I do? There's not much to say about the metal shading. I just went over it with an airbrush. um, we gotta work on the metal. I suck at metal, you guys. I hate working on metal. I'm so awful at it. I don't know what I'm doing with it. And, you know, they always say find some reference and work with the reference. But where am I going to find reference that looks like these boots? Seriously. It isn't going to happen. So there's certain things I've learned to do that make things seem a little bit more metally. And, yeah. It might not be accurate, but it works. It makes people think it's accurate. So we're gonna do that. I don't know how shiny I want to make this metal. I kind of like the soft metal look to it. My cat is messing with things in the room. But, yeah, we're gonna mess around with this. Oh, I also shaded the maroon stuff, which there wasn't a lot to shade. It's like this part of her bracer and this little strip here. Her horns were on that layer, but I separated them. And there's some maroon on her shoes. But like I said, it's like this itty bitty little stuff, and you didn't miss much. I think the only two things I did yesterday that you might have been sorry you missed was the hair and the horns, but since I just explained those, nah, you'll deal with it. And we're gonna go back once when the lines are gone, we're gonna go back and we're gonna fix this stuff. Like, look how chunky her hair is. There's like little pieces missing. We're gonna add in some stray hairs and whatnot, and this, I don't know why that's there. Is that part of my metal layer? It's really bugging me that there's, oh no, bad, back. Oh, I see. This is where some color didn't get put and the yellow is showing through. But then I had, oh god, look how awful this sword looks without lines. We have to go back and fix this. This is bad. So yeah, we're gonna work on the metal, and then we're gonna get rid of the lines, and I'll probably start working on the face first. I always start with the face when I start doing my details. I'm not sure why that is. It just, I don't know. I like doing the face. Whatever. We're gonna get there. Probably some of the details I'm not gonna record because there's so much work to do, and I'm trying to get this picture done by tomorrow, and just the details alone sometimes take 2 or 3 days. Yeah, and I'm trying to do this in like, yeah, just today and tomorrow. So some of the details I might not go ahead and record, like when I do the contrast on her leggings. Who cares? No one cares to see that. I will definitely show the face because that's one of the most important parts. There might be some other stuff I show. I don't know. It just depends how pressed for time we are. But a lot of it I'm just gonna do off camera because it's little tedious work. It's doing the same thing over and over again. It's just cleaning up the little chunks, and you guys aren't gonna learn anything from it. Not once we get past the face. The face is going to be like the most important thing because I'm going to show you how to put the contrast into the skin so you can differentiate the features. And once you know how to do that with the face, you can pretty much apply that everywhere, and it's not going to be anything new. So we probably won't record most of that. I need to get to work. I'm hesitating because I'm not quite sure where to start, to be honest. Lock my layer again. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and start figuring this out. Oh, this is so difficult. I should really be working with a pen. Metal is so hard to work with, you guys. I hate it. Like, literally, I just hate it. Urgh. I'm gonna screw around with this for a little while. This is not the best angle to be working at this with. Yeah, no. I like the soft metal look. I'm gonna go back to it. Metal is so difficult. I don't like it. And yet somehow it always finds its way into my pictures. It's weird how that works out. Okay, so I'm gonna darken up certain parts of this. Actually bright. Okay. You guys are probably going like, what is with all the stripes? But let me explain. Have you ever really looked at, like a piece of chrome? The, especially on like rounded pieces or pieces that aren't like flat, the reflection that it gets really distorted. And it creates these lines of shadow and stuff. I'm so, like, exploitative this morning. Stuff. I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain. I didn't lock my layer, did I? I thought it was on a locked layer. Gosh darn it. Oh no, bad, bad. Okay, lock. Yeah. I have issues today. Shush. Let's darken up this edge. Okay. Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna go put all these reflections in, and then we're gonna go back and start adding things, because I have to add color to this. You can't just leave it like this. This is a reflective metal. It's gonna pick up color from her wings, it's gonna pick up color from this arm, from the background, from the red, and I will add those in, but first I kind of want to get the reflections correct. I don't even want to work on her hand, I hate it so much. Okay, shadows first. Here, I better set this. That's my dark, my medium, my light. Okay. So, medium. Let's throw these in. I don't really need much light on this finger. And then my lights. Here's where it's gonna get a little detaily. I need to go back. Actually, let me, no, I can do it. I can do it. I have to think. I need shadows where all the banding is. Because although you can't see right now because there's like all this pencil work, once the lines are removed. This is going to be a lot cleaner, and I'm going to want those bandings there. See? They show me where this goes. I'm going to need some deeper shadows in here too. But I'm probably going to have to do that after I take the lines out. This is like a really weird angle to be working at. My phone is ringing. I love my new ring. Hold on. Why do random people call me? Don't you love my phone ring? It's so weird. I'm so excited about this that it's ridiculous. Like, I bought a phone. I don't own a cell phone. I'm like the weirdest person ever. Is that weird? Most people my age have had a cell phone in their life, and I have not. And I don't plan to have one because who the heck would call me, right? So, I'm like home all day. It doesn't make sense to have a cell phone. Oh no, I just lost my color. What was I saying? So, yeah, I bought this phone for my house when I first moved to Texas, like, ages ago. Like, forever. And, see, that was like 10 years ago, I think is when I moved here. Anyway, I had it a really, really, really long time. And, beep. Finally, it got to the point where I could not pick up my phone without it dying instantly. That's how old it was. The battery was like completely kaput. And so I replaced it the other day. I was so excited because I've needed a new phone for like forever, but I just didn't have the money to buy one. Nobody calls me anyway. But I did. I replaced it. And so the first thing I did is I found it had ringtones. It's been so long since I bought a phone that they didn't have ringtones the last time I bought one. And so I set it to this. Well, you guys heard it, that weird little song. And I love it because my last phone had this like really annoying sound. Oh god, it was so high pitched you couldn't ignore it, and I do sometimes when people call me. If I don't know who they are, if it says like unknown caller or it's like a telemarketer 800 number, I like just won't pick it up. I'm evil like that. And so it got like really annoying after like the 15th ring. And so when I got this one, I found out it had other stuff. I switched it, and I love it now. The only problem is when I'm like in a different room other than my computer room where I keep my phone, I don't hear it because it's so, I guess, I don't know how to put it. I don't know. It's just, it's so not annoying. It's not piercing or anything like that. That when I hear it in the other room, it doesn't occur to me that it's the phone. It just sounds like music, like really low music. So I miss a lot of calls now. But I don't want to change it because I really like it. I know I'm weird. Whatever. Oh, I'm not sure what I'm doing. So I wanted to tell you guys stories today. Yay, stories. Because I haven't got to do that. Last time I tried, I couldn't remember what my stories were. So today I wanted to tell you some stories, and I was thinking about it last night. I'm not doing this right. And I was thinking about this last night. Uh, the Do you guys have any things that you're like really scared of? Like fears? I am scared of like the weirdest things. And it's sort of funny. So I kind of want to tell you guys about it because I'm just so strange. Um, and there's always stories to go with why I'm scared of something. So it just kind of makes it funny. For instance, let's see. I am deathly afraid of Ferris wheels. Oh, they scare me so bad. I hate Ferris wheels. And that seems like the stupidest thing to be scared of. But I swear I have good reason. When I was little, me and my twin sister Jamie, who's on DeviantArt, some of you guys might know her, we used to go every year to the county fair. My parents would take us. And oh, I loved it. It was so much fun. I wish we had them here, but we don't because I live in the middle of the desert. Anyway, they had this Ferris wheel, and I used to love it because I loved going up high. I was not scared of heights. I loved going up high. And this particular time, me and my sister got on the Ferris wheel, and it was kind of a crappy day at the fair. Usually, it was like sunny, and it's like, I think they used to hold it in August. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. But it was like always a really nice sunny day. It was always hot. But this particular day, being in Oregon, um, it was a really awful day. It was cloudy, and it was starting to rain, and me and my sister decided to get on the Ferris wheel. Well, everything was going good until we got to the very top of the Ferris wheel. You know how when you're on a Ferris wheel, thing you always think is, please don't ever stop when I'm way at the top of the Ferris wheel. That would be so scary. Well, that's what happened. Um, it started raining really bad, and there was lightning and thunder, and the Ferris wheel stopped. Dead center at the top of the Ferris wheel. And we seemed to be sitting there like a really long time, and we were like, what the heck? When are we getting down? And we're like looking over the edge, and we weren't going anywhere. I'm like, okay, this is getting kind of freaky. We're getting kind of nervous. And so we looked down, and the gears that they used to move the Ferris wheel had jammed up because of the rain. They'd stopped, and we were stuck. Um, we must have been up there for like, I don't know, anywhere from 15 minutes to a half hour. I can't even remember correctly. But in the middle of this thunderstorm with like lightning, we're on the top of this giant metal contraption, like way up in the sky, and the wind was blowing, and the little seat we were sitting in was shaking. It was so scary. And eventually what they did is they got a couple of the, oh, this is not the color I want. I need something lighter, but not as light. Let's see. They got some of the fair workers to come, and what they did is they pulled the Ferris wheel down by hand. Oh gosh, it was so scary. It took them a really long time, but they got a bunch of guys there, and they pulled it down by hand. And we were, of course, the last ones off the ride because we were way at the top. And I swore when I got off that Ferris wheel that I was never going to get on another Ferris wheel again. Not ever. It wasn't going to happen. And they really creeped me out, and I never did. I didn't get back on a Ferris wheel until I was a grown-up. And I went to Disneyland. Yeah, it was actually a date. I got taken to Disneyland from Texas. It was really far away. Awesome date. Um, and I got suckered into going on the Ferris. So I was like, you know what? I'm a grown-up now. I can get on the Ferris wheel. This is kind of ridiculous. No. I felt so bad because it was a caged in Ferris wheel where you're not just sitting in a bucket seat, it's like an actual like little cart and it has sides and it's netted and there's bench seats on the inside. And so we went in and a father and his very young daughter were put on the same ride as us. I felt so bad. And so I was fine at first. I was completely fine. I thought, okay, I could do this. Not a problem. And then I realized that the Ferris wheel, um, it like, it didn't just swing side to side like most Ferris wheel seats. It could actually turn upside down. And it was like on this movable track. So it was going in these giant circles. I was so scared. I literally, right then and there, and in front of my date, and this poor man and his little girl started bawling my eyes out. I was so scared. And of course, my date was just laughing at me. He laughed and laughed and laughed, which it's okay. But the little girl looked at me. She was so terrified. Because here's this grown woman just crying her eyes out on the Ferris wheel because I was just so scared. I had a panic attack. I didn't realize I was going to be that frightened, or I wouldn't have gotten on. And yeah, it was horrible. Just horrible. And so to this day, I will not get on a Ferris wheel because I am so freaking terrified of Ferris wheels. It doesn't make any sense. And ever since, I've been very scared of heights. Like, realistically, I can look at it and say, oh, that would be so much fun. Like, I've been on the Tower of Terror, and I didn't have that much of a problem with it. But, like, see, if you guys have ever been to Disneyland, I go, like, almost every year, so I'm really familiar with it. Trying to think. If you go to, what's it called? Soarin' over California, I think it is. If any of you guys have ever been there. It's this ride where you sit in these like little fake hang gliders. And they like put this picture on a screen that looks like you're flying over bits of California. I cannot go on that ride. It freaks me out so bad. It literally gives me a panic attack. It's so stupid. I don't know why. But yeah, I can't go on that. It's yeah, no. Uh-uh. Freaks me out too bad. I am not doing this right. Oh, we'll fix this later. So, yeah, no Ferris rides. I'm scared of heights now. It gives me vertigo. I get like so dizzy and oh, it scares me. It absolutely terrifies me. Um, see, what's something else I'm scared of? I'm not scared of a lot of things. Because, growing up, I grew up kind of, how to explain this? I'm the youngest of 6 children. Maybe that's the best way to start this. Um, I got picked on by my siblings a lot. It kind of toughened me up a little bit. And how best to say this? Um, we we had a cabin when I was growing up. It was on a lake. There was no road access, and I spent a lot of time there. A lot of time there. And so I'm kind of used to animals because it was in the middle of a forest. There was no road access. You had to go in by boat. And we would spend all summer there, and we'd spend all the weekends there. And so I saw a lot of animals. I have run smack dab into bears. Um, I've had some interesting things with bears. In fact, I think I'll tell you a story about that in a minute. Um, but I'm not scared of a lot of animals because I'm used to them. I've been around. I've seen cougars. Um, like I said, bears, snakes. I like rodents. I really want a pet rat. I used to go catch lizards. um, there's just there's not a lot of animals that I'm frightened of. I'll even catch bugs. Bugs don't really bother me except cockroaches because they're just unnatural, evil little things. That's not what I wanted to do. Go back. So, yeah, not a lot of things scare me. But the things that scare me are like so ridiculous that it's just unbelievable that those are the things that scare me. For instance, I am terrified of aliens. I'm not scared of zombie movies or vampires or like really gory stuff. I love gory movies. But aliens scare the crap out of me. Um, and it's ridiculously enough, it's the same reason I'm scared of needles. This is so stupid. When I was a kid, there was this show that used to come on TV. I don't remember the name of it. If I ever figure it out, I'll tell you. Um, but it was, oh, what was it? It's like right on the tip of my tongue. I almost remember what it's called, but I can't. I don't remember. Um, Basically, it was the show where they told scary stories, and I was up really late last night when I was a kid. I didn't sleep much. And the show came on. And I didn't know that it was a scary story show. I didn't know that this was like all fiction. Keep that in mind. But it came on and it was like the show that came on was it was like a news broadcast, and they did it in such a way that it really looked like this was a real news broadcast. So don't laugh at me when I tell you that I did not know that this was a fictional show. I thought this was a news broadcast that was coming on at like 9 o'clock. Because that happens. It does. So I'm watching this news broadcast and they're going on about, car accidents and crap that's been happening. And all of a sudden the news broadcast is talking about these alien sightings they've been having. Like UFOs and stuff. And it was done like a real news broadcast. So it sounded like, you're watching the news and somebody saw, a UFO and they're just laughing and talking about it and making fun basically of these people who thought they saw a UFO. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the news broadcast, this alien walks on screen. And the two newscasters, one was a guy and one was a girl, and the girl was freaking out. She was like, oh my god, what is happening? What is that? And the guy is just staring. Just absolutely silent, just staring at this thing. And pretty soon, the alien just walks right up to the guy in the middle of this news broadcast. Keep this in mind. And pulls out this gigantic needle. I mean, like the size of my hand. Huge. And, like, pushes it into his eye. And the girl is freaking out. She's screaming and she gets away. And the news cameramen are freaking out. And, like, the camera's shaking. And the guy is just sitting there like he's in a trance. Absolutely just not even there, really. while this alien does experiments on him during live TV. I thought this was real. I was like 6, and nobody had explained to me this was a fiction show. So I was freaking out. I was like, oh my god, aliens have attacked Earth. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. And my mom comes in and says, okay, Carrie, it's time to go to bed. Didn't wasn't paying attention to the show. I don't think she even knew what I was watching. But she didn't say anything about the aliens, and I was like, oh my god. Like, they got to my parents. Everybody, the aliens are attacking, and nobody seems to notice, just like the guy on the TV. I was so scared. I swear, I did not sleep that night. I kept looking out my bedroom window every time I heard a noise, and every time I saw like headlights go by out the window. I was like, oh god, the aliens are coming. They're gonna get me. And I can't go to sleep because if I go to sleep, they're gonna get me. Maybe that's where my insomnia comes from. But anyway, after that, I was so terrified of aliens. Aliens and needles. And to this day, I cannot go get a shot. It freaks me out. I have a full-blown panic attack. For instance, one time I went to go to the hospital and I was having surgery, and I have like really awful veins. They call them pediatric veins, basically. I have all of my veins are like itty bitty tiny, like you find in babies, basically. They're like really little. So when they give me like shots or IVs or something like that, the veins break really easy because they're so small. They have to use the tiniest needle they can. And even then, most of the time, my veins will break. So it's very hard for me to get an IV because they infiltrate, which just means that the vein breaks, and hold on, I'm concentrating too much to talk. The vein breaks, and all of the fluid that's supposed to go into your IV ends up in your arm. So this one particular time, I had to go get an IV because I was having surgery, and the IV infiltrated, and so they had to put in another one. But I was so panic-stricken by the fact that I had to get this IV that my body was starting to go into shock. All of my body was basically, it was swelling up, and my blood pressure was so high that the veins were starting to roll, and they just couldn't get it. I ended up having 17 IVs by the time this was over, infiltrate, and I had to get a central line put in, which is an IV they put into, I guess it's your jugular. It's the main vein in your neck, and that infiltrated too, so they had to put in a second one. And I mean, it was like a nightmare. It was like the worst thing ever. And it's happened every time since then. I cannot panic so much now, but I have panicked so much that I've passed out. I have also panicked so much that they had to have 3 nurses, attendants, orderlies come in and hold me down. When I was little, they had to like strap me in to this little chair to do my shots because it freaks me out so bad. I'm a little bit better about it now because I'm so used to it. I've had a lot of surgeries over the last couple years due to my kidney problems and other various issues. So, yeah, needles really freak me out. What was I going to tell you guys? I was going to tell you guys something. I was going to tell you about the bears, but I want to talk about aliens some more. Have you guys ever seen the movie Fire in the Sky? That movie terrifies me. I keep trying to get my family members to watch it because some of them haven't, and I keep telling them it's a really good movie. It's very scary. And they're like, it's just aliens. But to me, that movie is so absolutely terrifying. I had nightmares about it forever when I was little. I think I watched it when I was little. I was probably like 12 when I watched it, and it still scares me. I can't watch it. Terrifies me because again, it has aliens and it's supposed to be a true story, and aliens freak me out. So yeah, aliens scare me. Uh, let's see, what else? Oh, the bear incident. I want to tell you guys about the bear. So I said I've run into bears before, and I have. Actually, my sister ran into the first bear when we went up to our cabin one time. We always used to go in the evenings because my dad got off at work at like 5. And so he'd come home, and we'd pack our boat for the weekend on Fridays, and we would head up to the cabin. So by the time we got there, it would be about dusk, and we had to worry about the fact that the light was leaving. We wanted to get the boat unpacked and have dinner, you know, before it got dark out, because in the woods it's very dark at night. And there's not a lot of lights. I mean, there's electricity, but yeah. So we went up to the cabin, and we were unlocking the doors and putting out the let's see, we're unlocking the doors, and we were putting our bags away in the cabins because we have 2 cabins separated, one for the kids, one for the adults. And my sister turned the corner. We didn't have plumbing up there at this time. It was not required by regulations at the time. We had an outhouse, like an old-fashioned outhouse. I know, you guys, I'm such a woodsy girl, I didn't even care. But we had this outhouse, and my sister turned around the corner, I think just to check, because there was this wall next to the outhouse, and there's a little light there. And so usually, especially in the evenings, you could go around the corner of the building, and there was, right there at the light, you would find a bunch of like moths and insects and stuff on the wall around this light. And we used to like to go and like hunt them down and catch them because we were woodsy girls. And so my sister turned a corner, I think just to see what was there, and she ran smack dab into the back end of a bear. You're just sitting there. It was eating some leaves off this bush, because they're omnivores, you guys. They actually eat a lot of green. Anyways, to make a very long story short, my sister freaked out, and I turned the corner to see, and I saw what it was, and I was like, oh crap. And we ran around to the other edge of the, hold on, the other edge of the cabin, and we're like, Dad, there's a bear. And my dad looked at us, and he's like, you guys don't know what you're talking about. It's like a raccoon. I think we were like, well, not that old, but we knew the difference between a raccoon and a bear. I mean, come on. And so we're like, no, Dad, it's a bear. You don't get it. It's a bear. He didn't believe us. So whatever. He went inside the cabin. He got his rifle down off the wall where he kept it. And he turns the corner and intent on scaring away this raccoon. And he gets a good look at this bear. He's like, oh crap, it is a bear. And so he loads his gun, and the bear is just sitting there, minding its own business. It's eating away on the bush. It's a happy bear. But it's a big bear. Really big bear. And so my dad unfortunately had to shoot it because bears, once they get that tame, especially up there in the woods, um, even if they're not in season, you have to get rid of them. Because they become a really big danger to humans. This one was way too complacent about having people around, and chances are it would have gone after somebody's kids or a camper because, I mean, it could. It wasn't scared. And so we did have to shoot it. It was, I want to say, was it the bigger one? We used to hunt bears all the time. I'm trying to think of which one it was. I believe it was the bigger one. I think it was like somewhere between 400 and 600 pound, fully grown, I want to say female bear. It was huge. But so after that, we were always very careful going around that corner to sort of make sure that this wasn't going to happen to us again. We were not going to run into another bear. And lo and behold, one day, I went up to the cabin, and oh god, this is such an embarrassing story, but I'm going to tell you guys anyway. We had been staying up at the cabin, oh, I don't know, it was like a weekend, or it was the summer, I don't even remember really. I don't want that much light on that side. So yeah, it was a weekend, and I'm just gonna say it's weekend because I don't really know. It was ages ago, you guys. I was like, I don't know, I was like in 6th, 7th grade. Forget. Anyway, we had spent the night, and I got up in the morning, and I had to pee, because that just happens. And so, we were just getting up. It wasn't even time for breakfast yet, and I went outside to round the corner of the building again to go to the outhouse, and I heard this noise. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that it was a noise, and it was early in the morning, and I was half awake, and when you hear a noise in the middle of the woods, you pay attention. And so I was like, yeah, I don't want to be out here by myself. I went in and I got my sister, and I was like, would you please stand guard outside this outhouse while I go to the bathroom, because I heard a noise and I don't want to be out here by myself. And she's like, sure, whatever. And so I go into the outhouse, and I do everything I need to do, not to be specific, and I was just about to come out of the bathroom, and I was unlocking the door. There's like this little deadbolt we had on the door, and I hear this noise, and it sounds like a pig, because little did I know, and most of you probably don't know this, pigs are actually in the same animal family as bears. Didn't know that. I wish I had. And so I hear this noise, and I'm like, what the crap? My sister's playing jokes on me again, because it was like long-standing tradition in my family at that point that when somebody was in that outhouse, you stood outside it and you made noises that sounded like bears or bobcats or whatever, because it was funny to freak them out. We were mean. And so that's what I figured it was my sister, and she was trying to scare me. And so I didn't pay it that much attention. I was like, what the crap is she doing? That doesn't even sound like a bear. That sounds like a pig. I was like, very funny, Jamie. And I kept listening. I don't know what made me keep listening. But I very, very soon realized that there was more than one. It wasn't one person making all this noise. There was definitely more than one. And then that's when I got a little freaked out. I was like, who the crap would do this? This is like first thing in the morning. Who would be out here trying to freak me out? There's no way my mother would be doing it. She didn't do that kind of stuff. My dad would. But it was a little too early in the morning. I was like, there's no way. Dad wouldn't be here doing that. That's just silly. And I just couldn't figure it out. It was starting to freak me out a little bit. So, whatever. I stayed in there and I was like listening. And I realized there was more than one. Which totally had me freaking out. But I wasn't quite sure what to do, but I stayed in there. And then, like, all of a sudden, there's banging on the outhouse door, like something was trying to get in. I was so absolutely terrified. Absolutely terrified. And what I figured out was it was a mother bear had come by with her cub. And they could smell me. They knew I was in there and they were investigating. Not necessarily because they meant me any harm, but they just wanted to know what was in there. Unfortunately, it was me. And so they were trying to get in. I was literally standing there, so scared, just absolutely terrified. Like, I can't even describe how scared I was. It was just so scary. And I was holding the door closed because it was a flimsy plyboard door. I mean, there was nothing to it. If they had tried any harder, they would have gotten in. But the one thing you learn, if anything else, when you live in the woods is you never, ever, ever get between a mama bear and her cub. Never. That is the most dangerous place to be. Because she will do anything to protect her cub. So I was rightfully scared out of my mind. Hello? Just, oh. But, I mean, there was nothing I could do. And the whole time I was thinking, where is my sister? Where is Jamie? Because she was supposed to be standing guard. And she obviously wasn't there. I didn't know if she had run into the bear or if she had just left. Well, it turned out in the end that my sister, who I love dearly, Jamie, had left. She was like, too early in the morning, it's cold out here, I don't want to stand out here. I don't know if she was scared by the noise or whatever, but she went back inside the cabin. And the funny thing is, there was a window on the side of the cabin that it looked right out on the outhouse, and the blinds were open. So if she had looked, she would have seen the trouble I was in. But she didn't. She didn't notice. I was stuck in the outhouse with the bears on the outside. Let's see. The bears must have been there about half an hour. And they left. And when I finally stopped hearing them make noises, I waited probably another 20 minutes before I came out, because never in my life have I ever been so frightened of opening a door. Because I knew that if I opened that door, they were going to be on the other side, and I was going to die. So I waited. I just sat in there, and once I knew that there was no more sound from them, I waited some more. Because there was no way I was coming out of there unless I was absolutely certain that they were gone. And eventually I opened up the door, and oh, the outhouse is built in like this stupid way. Our cabin was backed up against, I don't want to say a cliff, but it sort of was. There was a wall of dirt that led to a higher terrace behind our cabin. So there was like 4 feet behind the cabin that was like a walkway between the cliff and our cabin. And it was very dark back there. And the door of the outhouse looked out on this pathway. But to get to the cabin, you had to go out the door, turn to your left, go by around the side of the cabin where the window was, and then you had to round to the building to the front of the cabin, and then turn another corner to the right to get into the cabin. I mean, I was like at the back of the cabin, and on that wall where we used to catch the bugs and where the window was that looked out on the outhouse, it also faced the woods where this bear had come from. And I had to walk out the door, peek into this walkway behind the cabin, didn't see anything. I don't know where they went. I was so scared they were going to be around the corner. So I walked out, and I go to the corner. I'm losing track of my painting, sorry. I'm telling this story, I'm so animated. So I walk around the corner, and I like peek my head around because I wanted to make sure the stupid bear wasn't there. And then, if it was there, I was going to have to get back into the outhouse before it could catch me, because I was so scared. I was little, you guys. I was just like a preteen. And so, yeah, I was just terrified. It was like the most ridiculous thing I've ever gone through. And I did. I made it around the cabin. I was like holding my breath. I ran around the edge of the cabin, and I ran to go get my sister. Actually, no, I bypassed my sister because she didn't help me. I ran to the other cabin where my mom was, and I was like banging on the door, and I was crying and screaming. My mom opened the door. She's like, "What the crap happened?" Not those exact words. My mom never said crap. I say crap. I was like, "Where's Dad? Where's Dad? There's a bear." Guess where he was? He had left early that morning to go bear hunting. He had a license, and he went bear hunting up on the ridge, a couple miles away, first thing in the morning. And I was just bawling my eyes out. I was so scared. I was terrified. And my mom tucked me into her bed, and my sister finally came in, and I was like, "Where were you? You left me." She's like, "Whoa, I didn't even, like, notice that you were missing for so long. What were you doing over here?" I was like, "I was in the bathroom. There was a stupid bear." I was so mad at her. But she left me there, and she didn't even notice that I was missing. She, like, went back to bed. Yeah, I didn't forgive her for a very long time. That was just not right. And my dad came back, and I was like, "Dad, you suck. Why did you go bear hunting? The bears were here." And my dad was like, "Man, I couldn't even find a bear." I was like, "You're so stupid." That's so not nice. I couldn't believe it had happened. So yeah, it's my story. Weird things